Fantastic. So, good afternoon, all. I hope everybody's well. I hope you've managed to find some time to enjoy this wonderful sunshine. Many thanks for joining us today for our Digital Critical Friends session. My name's Fiona, and I've recently taken over the day-to-day running of Digital Critical Friends. So, the first thing is, did you know that the Scottish tech industry is growing 1.5 times faster than any other industry in Scotland, with 1 in 10 jobs being in Scottish tech? However, 23% of businesses say the existing workforce lacks the basic digital skills required, and 37% say the workforce lack advanced digital skills. In addition to that, nearly half of all businesses say that staff shortages are impairing their ability to implement new technologies and are dramatically holding back their growth. So we all know that a large part of the reason this skill gaps exists is because of the drop-off rates throughout school. It's been identified that part of the solution to closing the gap is to connect computer science teachers with industry professionals, so our young people can truly understand the opportunities that exist within the tech sector. Our Digital Critical Friends programme aims to close this gap, and today you'll hear more information about what the programme involves from myself and our partners. So in the session today, we've got Kerry from STEM Ambassadors, who will chat through their role within the programme. We've got Becky from Tech She Can, who will discuss the resources available through their Tech We Can programme. And Andy from Police Scotland has joined us to give us some more information about their Cyber Choices initiative and how we can support this as Digital Critical Friends. We'll also have time at the end for questions. So before we begin, I just wanted to ask if anybody knows how many tech sector jobs are forecasted to be open year on year. I can tell you it's 15,600. So year on year, there will be 15,600 available vacancies. That's a 20% forecast on 20% increase on last forecasted figures. So as we can all tell, that is quite huge. So let's have a look at one of the ways that we're looking to solve this problem. So first of all, who are ScotlandIS? ScotlandIS was created in 1999, and the fundamental aim is to support the growth of the Scottish tech sector. We're the only trade body for Scotland's tech sector. We're independent, not-for-profit and membership funded. As the membership and cluster management organisation for the digital technologies industry, we're at the heart of Scotland's digital economy. We help our members shape, change and drive it forward. As part of our commitment to our members, we try to create solutions to some of their problems. Skills has always been one of the biggest challenges for our sector. We highlighted this to the government back in 2004, and we've been working with industry partners and agencies to create solutions that are fit for purpose. In response to the STER review, ScotlandIS developed an innovative and responsive new project in collaboration with DYW Glasgow. The project was providing every secondary school in Glasgow, North and South Lanarkshire and West Glasgow with a tech expert at their disposal called a Digital Critical Friend. Funding secured through Skills Development Scotland's Industry into Classroom programme also allowed us to expand the Critical Friends initiative into the south of Scotland. And we are now at the stage where we're looking to expand into the rest of Scotland, and we require digital critical friends in all areas. So as a Digital Critical Friend, you'll encourage and inspire young people to study computing science and pursue a career in tech, while helping the industry form relationships with secondary schools. We're currently matching all of our already engaged industry practitioners with their schools to help upskill our computing science teachers on industry best practice, new technology, and being an advocate for digital within their school. Our Digital Critical Friends can also work with our young people, exposing them to the opportunities in our sector and the pathways available for them. So this programme allows them to understand the sector, the opportunity in it, and build that skills pipeline our members and sector need to enable the growth of their businesses. So how does the Critical Friends programme work? ScotlandIS will match you with a secondary school for a 12-month period. You will spend time sharing your knowledge and experiences of industry with the teachers that actually deliver computing science. You'll help build their knowledge of industry best practice, emerging tech, and how it can be shared with students. You can connect flexibly by video, email, or over a coffee. You could invite your teacher into your workplace to visit your teams, provide an insight on the type of projects that you're working on. You might also find a visit into the school valuable. You'll learn how to learn about how classes are taught, materials available to students and teachers, and gain a deeper understanding of how computing science is actually delivered. You'll be a sounding board, a guide, a friend. You'll be willing to take part in catch-ups at least once per term and potentially present to students about subjects that interest them, showing them that tech is an option and one that they should actually be excited to take. You'll help your match teacher become an advocate for new technologies, point them in the right direction for help, advice, and to widen their own network. It's your opportunity to find out what the challenges are within your partnership and engage in discussions about the current curriculum and industry practices, which then feed directly into the teaching and learning within the school. The program's now been running for more than 12 months, and we've had some lessons learned along the way, and we've made some improvements so that digital critical friends and schools that are matched can get the most out of their relationships. We have a new partnership with ScotlandIS, Text You Can and STEM ambassadors to address the Scottish technology skills gap. We recognise that we can work together to tackle this shared ambition to increase STEM education for school-age pupils by improving collaboration between all of our programmes and accessibility for anyone that wants to get involved. Through the new partnership, STEM ambassadors will provide PVG accreditation, making it much easier to become a digital critical friend. With Text You Can's Tech We Can educational resources now being provided to critical friends, you can increase the support given to teachers to build knowledge and confidence in delivering tech-related lessons, helping to inform students and inspire them to consider a career in STEM. We've also built in once per term touch points for your digital critical friend and match school, so all participants have an understanding of the expectation of time commitment involved before you start your engagement period. We've also got digital badges that our critical friends can access and use on email signatures, LinkedIn, and other social media, so you can showcase your involvement within the programme. We're actively recruiting and matching in a number of areas across Glasgow and the West. You can see them here on our slide, but obviously our goal now is to do a national rollout. We're taking notes of interest for any critical friend that would like to be involved for any area across Scotland. So even if you don't see your location on the screen, please do get in touch and we will update you on where we are with each area. So my ask of you is, if you have any questions, please let us know. If you would like more information, please get in touch. And of course, if you would like to become a digital critical friend, please let me know. And my email address is on the screen. It's fiona.thompson@scotlandis.com. Thank you very much for listening to me today. And I'm going to pass you on to Kerry at STEM Ambassadors, who will chat through the STEM Ambassador programme.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to get my slides up. Give me a second. Probably feeling just as sluggish in this heat as everyone else is. Hi, so yeah, I'm Kerry Haynes. I'm the Programme Manager for the STEM Ambassador Programme in Scotland. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that means. With this partnership, Digital Critical Friends all become STEM Ambassadors. Part of that is because of the safeguarding training and the PVG certificate that we can provide as a STEM Ambassador. But what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about what it means to be a STEM Ambassador and kind of what other opportunities are available to you as well. If you have any questions, I can see the chat. So as I go, please pop them in. Usually I get questions about PVG, so I'm happy for you to just pop them in as I go through and I can address them as I go. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the overview, some of the benefits and some of the things that you can get up to, as well as being a digital critical friend. I'd be really interested in the chat if anyone could pop in there if you've heard about a STEM Ambassador program, or even if you are already a STEM Ambassador, either current or lapsed. If you pop that in the chat, I will keep speaking, but I can have a look at it and see what people are saying. So yes, have you heard of it? Are you a STEM ambassador? Have you been a STEM ambassador? So all our STEM ambassadors are volunteers with a passion for STEM and a passion for kind of supporting young people and inspiring and showcasing all the variety of STEM careers and opportunities that are available to young people. So the program is UK-wide. It's managed by STEM Learning. There's different hubs across the UK, and in Scotland, the program is managed by CERC. What's really nice about this is that you become part of this UK-wide network. So there's opportunities available to you across the UK, and as you travel and go about, you can kind of get involved, for as long as you want. I can see some people have heard of it, but haven't been involved yet. I can see Fiona did your first activity last month with P6 and it went very well. I'm very glad it went well. So we have 4,500 STEM ambassadors in Scotland. They're right across Scotland. We have a lot in the cities, but also some really great remote and rural STEM ambassadors as well. CERC as an organisation who I work for, we provide professional learning for teachers. We're also the Health and Safety Advisory Service, and we run a programme called Young STEM Leaders, which is young people basically the STEM ambassadors in their schools. So we're really well placed to help our STEM ambassadors work with schools and teachers and kind of navigate their own volunteering and engaging with schools. So why should you become a STEM ambassador? And I suppose this is why what else you'll get from the STEM ambassador program in addition to Digital Critical Friend. So we believe really passionately in Scotland and as the Scottish hub that we want to make sure that as a volunteer you also get other skills and other opportunities to develop your own skills and that it's not just about you volunteering and us kind of sending you out, but you actually get something from the program as well. So we have lots of different training that we offer. We've got one, for example, next month that's all about unconscious bias and how to be an inclusive STEM ambassador. We had one the other week, which is called This Is Me, which is about creating a 3-slide, simple picture-led presentation about who you are and how to deliver that to school children. It's fun. You get to give back to your local community. You get access to lots of resources and training. You'll hear about how we work with Tech She Can. So, who have amazing resources. I love sharing Tech She Can resources, but we also have other ones that we can help and signpost you to. You become a role model, and there's something really amazing about being a role model and seeing that kind of little spark of kind of realization and that moment with young people that they kind of really hit on that, like, oh, this is cool, this is exciting, I can be like that. And something really special about that. It's great for your CV. Being a digital critical friend is amazing for your CV. So is ambassador. So these are all really great initiatives that you can include and use for your professional development as well. You can be a STEM ambassador in lots of different ways. So some of us ambassadors will become digital critical friends. You're kind of coming from a different perspective where you sign up because you're interested in become a digital critical friend, and therefore you would also become a STEM ambassador. Any activity you do as a digital critical friend is absolutely STEM ambassador volunteer activity. So they're really nicely working parallel together. They contribute to each other. So if you wanted to kind of do more volunteering beyond that, you can kind of shape how you want that experience to be. So it's really easy to tailor the STEM ambassador program to kind of suit your availability, your level of commitment that you want to have. Maybe the next 6 months you're not going to have much time. That's absolutely fine. So you can do things online or in person. You can work with one particular school continuously. You might want to just keep working with the school that you get matched with, or you might have kids in a school that you want to work with that one. That's absolutely fine. Some STEM ambassadors spend lots of time doing lots of big assemblies. Some work with a STEM club, and that's the key thing that they do, and they'll work with a small group of young people. It can be topic or employability focused. And some of our STEM ambassadors actually do a lot of their volunteering working directly with teachers and leaders, or actually just contribute lots of really amazing experiences and information to resources that we create. So we have some STEM ambassadors that actually spend very little time directly in a classroom, and they still have a really valuable contribution to make to the program. This is just a little snapshot of some activities that you can do. They all offer really unique experiences. So things like talks are great to kind of get in front of a large group of people and really share that information. Things like projects where maybe you're working on a competition or working on something really specific that you can kind of really get stuck into. And something like Digital Critical Friend, is an element of the STEM Ambassador program that you can do. So by doing that, you're working on a specific project, you get training on that program, and you can go and work and participate in the Digital Critical Friend program. The whole STEM Ambassador program is supported by an online database, which basically acts like our big notice board. So teachers and group leaders will place requests on the database looking for STEM ambassadors. So it's kind of hard to see, but here you can see that they're looking for someone there to do a bit of field work, or they've got they want to look for some STEM ambassadors to help with mock interviews, or a science and engineering outreach. So all our teachers and group leaders will place their requests there. You as an individual can go along, browse these, you can filter for what's close to you, you can filter on different topics, you can filter for things like technology and computing, and find ones that are specifically of interest to you in your region. See the information, which you can see on the right hand side there. That's kind of what that activity posting looks like. And if it's something you think you can help out with and it's at a time that works for you, you can then express interest. So always managed for you through this database. And then on your STEM Ambassador profile, you each get your own individual profile. You'll be able to see all your upcoming activities in one place, as well as then going to record any activities that you've found out with the database. Some of our STEM ambassadors have all their own activities already, so don't actually need to use the database to find things. And what they do is once they've completed the activity, they go on and record it. So if you become a Digital Critical Friend, once you've done any of your sessions, once you've engaged with them, met up with your teacher or gone into the school or had them come visit you, you can simply just record that on the database afterwards. As I said, we believe really strongly that it's about providing you with as many opportunities to kind of develop and explore new skills. So we have a regular training program that we offer with lots of different opportunities. Mentoring is a really cool one. So we work with a Scottish Mentoring Network where we run a training session all about how to become a really effective mentor and what are the skills you need to mentor. And that allows our ambassadors who want to go on and do mentoring through the program, but equally if they're doing mentoring in other ways as well. We have hub organised events, so we do lots of things, like Maths Week, British Science Week, Book Week, where you can come along, get involved with the stuff that we've organised. It's a really easy way to volunteer without kind of to find your own thing or find your own activities. We have projects, things like National Numeracy Champions, and Digital Critical Friend is a perfect example of that as well. And then one of the key things we're here to do is provide advice and support. So if you're ever stuck or just want to check in with someone or just check what ideas you have, that is what we're here to do. We also provide our STEM ambassadors with resources. So one of the things that we have is our resource lending library. So we have a ton of really awesome STEM kits that as a STEM ambassador, you can borrow from us for free. We'll send them to you, you'll use them, and then when you're done, you can send them back. So Fiona borrowed some microbits from us recently and delivered some activities, and then we arranged to get them back. And that's available to all of you to do the same as well. And this works really nicely. So as you become a Digital Critical Friend and you want to go into the classroom, you may want to borrow some kits from us or take them with you and deliver some hands-on computing or technology type activities. We also have the STEM Learning Resource Library, which has thousands of resources. So if there's ever a topic you're not sure about, you can check that out. So as a STEM ambassador, we ask that you deliver one activity per year. If you're being a Digital Critical Friend and you're matched up, nothing more to do. That's your activity. Just make sure it's recorded on the database and that's you good to go. We all obviously hope that all our STEM ambassadors will want to do more than one activity, but that is the minimum requirement. Okay, so how to become a STEM ambassador. So if you sign up to be a Digital Critical Friend, you will need to also sign up as a STEM ambassador. So you can get started, sign up as STEM ambassador straight away today, and you can have your profile there and it will link up to the Digital Critical Friend program. Equally, Becky will talk to you about the Tech She Can program. They also become STEM ambassadors as well. So lots of ways that we can join up with other initiatives. So you'll create your profile on the website. I have a QR code on my next slide because now we don't seem to function without them. So here we all love a QR code. So you register as a new STEM ambassador on the stem.org.uk website. Once you've registered, you'll be contacted within 5 working days to complete your online induction. It will take less than an hour, but it covers important things like safeguarding and expectations of us ambassadors and kind of within the program. You need to complete that step before we can progress to do your PVG. Thank you, Becky. Once you've completed your induction, we will contact you about completing your PVG application. Now, all our STEM ambassadors will have to do this. Even if you already have a PVG or a DBS with another organisation, we will still need to do an ID check and submit paperwork on your behalf. That's because if you have a PVG already, we basically need to submit the paperwork to say, we now need to see this person's PVG account, so we will also be notified of any changes to your status. So it's much simpler. You still fill in all the same stuff, we still do the same process, but we just will need to do it if you have a PVG. So the ID check is a couple of minutes. You come along, all you need to do is show 2 pieces of ID. We accept someone holding up their mobile phone with their bank statement on it, where you can send us a digital copy of it. It's not like trying to get a passport or a driving license. We basically need to be satisfied that you are who you say you are. But we give you all the information of what you need to do that. Once your PVG comes back, you can start volunteering and you are now an active STEM ambassador. There's a promised QR code that you need to scan, although Becky sent the link, so you've made my QR code irrelevant. Just a couple of things about your PVG. So once you have sent off your paperwork, once you've done your ID check, we send off your paperwork, you actually now have 14 days. So Disclosure Scotland will contact you directly with a link to complete an online form, which you'll have 14 days to do. But fortunately, we've got a really amazing webpage with all our FAQs on there, with the whole process of how the PVG system works. We know that's the stuff that our new STEM ambassadors have the most questions about, so that we have it all in one place. I'm waiting for Becky to see if her link comes in there now. When you sign up to be a STEM ambassador, you have access. You'll create your own profile. On there, you should do things like include a photo, so we can send you a STEM ambassador ID card, which you can use when you go out to events. You can also include a biography. In your biography, if you include any keywords, anything that you're particularly interested in volunteering, and it doesn't just have to be your job, it's also your hobbies and interests. So if you're a really avid gamer or you love playing music, anything that you'd be interested in volunteering about, because we can use your biography to find activities really bespoke for you. So across Scotland, there's loads of Minecraft clubs, for example, and they're always looking for STEM ambassadors who can go along and work with the young people on some really cool Minecraft type activities. So that's something that would interest you, pop that in your biography. You can include your pronouns on there, your employer information. You can also include any activity preferences that you have. So if you only want to work with P5s, 10 miles from you, and only do mentoring, you might be a bit reduced in what things you'll be offered, but you can include that type of information in there as well. And finally, there's something called your public profile. So your biography, just us can see in the hub team, but your public profile is available for teachers and group leaders to see when you express interest in activities. So you can simply copy your biography if that's what you want, or you might want to tailor that information slightly and introduce yourself to them so they can see more about you. This is the really important step. So when you sign up to be a STEM ambassador, under your skills and qualifications in your profile, you will see the opportunity to include any schemes that you're participating in. So if you're going to become a Tech Weekend champion and a digital critical friend, you can include them as your scheme. And that basically means we can link you together as part of that program, and we can make sure you get any relevant information about it. So it's a really important step, and what we'll do is you can have my slides after this, but we can also, that information will be shared through you as you kind of progress through the process as well. So including that when you register and in your profile that you are a digital critical friend, a Tech Weekend champion, and you can also include these schemes or any activities that you add to the database as well. Okay, that was a really whistle-stop tour for this ambassador program. No questions have come in. I'm happy to take any now, or even just pop them in the chat, but I will hand over to Becky to talk about tech she can. And if you think of anything, pop them in the chat and I'll be here until the end as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kerry. I'll just share my screen. Sorry for making your QR code null and void.
I'm gonna have to be really hot on the links now and see if I can do the courtesy of helping you too.
Okay, challenge accepted. Let's see if Kerry can find all the text you can links as we go along. So let me just share that a little bit bigger. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Becky and I'm from the charity Text You Can. And we're delighted to work alongside ScotlandIS and STEM ambassadors to inspire children across Scotland to consider careers in technology. My background's teaching, so I was a primary and secondary school teacher for just over 10 years. And then for the last 4 years, I've worked with the Text You Can charity on free educational resources to inspire children into tech. So as digital critical friends and STEM ambassadors, you are passionate about talking to children about these things, but often you think, well, what shall I make? What shall I present? What shall I show them? And that is where Text You Can comes in. So we have ready-made resources, lesson plans, PowerPoints with script, videos you can play, cartoons you can use with the children, all freely available on the Text You Can website. So I'm going to take you very briefly through who we are as a charity, and then most importantly, what Tech We Can is and where you can find those resources to use in your STEM ambassador or your digital critical friends sessions that you deliver in schools. So we are a fully funded charity, Text You Can, which means everything we do for schools is completely free. It's only thanks to those people, those organisations you can see on the slide there, that support us with funding that we're able to do everything that we do for students and schools. What we focus on as a charity, you can probably tell from our name, is diversity in tech. But actually, the UK's critical skills gap could be solved today if we had the same number of women as men working in technology. So our critical skills gap, gosh, I can't speak. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon already, and it's hot, and I'm stumbling my words. And so our critical skills gap would be solved if we had more women, as many women as men. So diversity in technology is what Text You Can focus on. And the reason we exist are the statistics on the top there. So only 10% of leaders in tech currently identify as female, and only 3% of women say that a career in tech is their first choice. They are female graduates. So that was from thousands of female graduates across the UK that were interviewed. Now that's quite a worrying statistic for us and for the organisations who sign up to be members of Text You Can, because organizations want diverse people working for their company. And not only is it the right thing to do, but it will also make them more successful in the future, because the more diverse people they have working for their tech organizations, or even if they're not a tech organization, but working in their tech departments, the more diverse people they have, the better they'll provide solutions for their clients, the better they'll provide physical products for the public. So diversity of thought will go into all of the things that they do. So that is why it's so important to have diversity in technology. The bottom statistics there, some of them around the school sector. So over 66% of secondary school parents are lost in a job fog, which means they just don't understand what to advise their children to go into, because they don't understand what's out there now and some of the brand new roles. So they're currently careers advisors and parents are preparing children for the present or even the past in some cases. What we're trying to do is really bring them up to speed with what those new opportunities are and all of the new kind of roles the children can access, especially in the tech sector. And then schools. So 65% of children today across the UK will actually work in a job that doesn't currently exist yet. Now, I've seen reports, I read a recent report that had that at over 90%. So that's how fast the job market is changing. Of course, we will still have doctors, nurses, teachers, childcare in the future, but what that job physically looks like on a day-to-day basis will be very different because of the advancements in technology that those people will be using in those roles. So even if children are wanting to go in traditional roles like doctors, nurses, teachers, they will still need to talk about and study how technology will be a part of that, because it will play a huge part in their day-to-day role. Over a quarter of schools across the UK do not offer computer science at GCSE or higher in Scotland, which means we've got millions of children across the UK wanting to take their computing or digital skills further, but they reach the age of around 14 and they can't. The main reason for that is a lack of computing science teachers, especially female computing science teachers. They are very rare to come by. But we feel that if we're teaching children at a younger age all about careers in technology and how great technology is, many of them might want to then think, I want to teach other people about that. So it's all a cycle and it's all connected. And also 80% of jobs advertised in the UK now require digital skills. So no matter what the children want to be, this is so important for them to understand how tech will affect their future. So TechSheCan's mission is for women to be equal members in creating and developing those new tech business products and services that's going to shape the world that we're all living in now and that we'll all live in the future. Our member base is very varied. We just show this slide to show that actually it's not just tech companies that support TechSheCan. We have media, aerospace, retail, professional services, recruitment. So just as I said before, they all understand the importance of diversity in their tech sectors. What we offer as a charity is Tech We Can. Now, Tech We Can is the name of all of our educational resources, which we deliver to students from P1 to S2. So 5-year-olds until around 13, 14-year-olds. The reason we deliver it to that age range is because we're trying to talk to the children before they choose their hires. So before they make any limiting decisions on their future, so they don't choose certain subjects, and to broaden their knowledge of, okay, where could that pathway actually take me? What is it that I want to do? What are my options that are out there? Another reason we talk to very young children, so children as young as 5, about careers is because actually gender stereotypes start that early. I would argue they start even earlier than that. So I'm a mother of a son and a daughter. My son is 10, my daughter is 7, and I would say I noticed gender stereotypes starting as early as 2. So as early as 2, they were deciding who should wear pink and love unicorns and who should play with Lego and be able to build and to make science experiments. And I tried to make sure that I challenged that and encourage them to do anything they wanted to do both ways. So encourage my daughter to make sure she builds with the Lego and that she can wear the Pikachu jumper if she wants to, and equally to encourage my son if he wanted to play with the dolls or anything like that when he was little. So those gender stereotypes start very early, but if we continue to talk to children all the time throughout their school career, hopefully those stereotypes won't settle in and children won't see that their gender limits them in any way. So Tech We Can is for children aged 5 to 14. It is delivered by males and females, and it's delivered to both boys and girls. You've got the Tech She Can charity, and Tech We Can are the resources that we provide. We do also have other areas that we work in, filling the immediate skills gap in the apprenticeship sector in terms of pathways and helping our members share their apprenticeship levy between them, and a whole role model campaign that we have for the slightly older students. But today I'm going to focus in on Tech We Can because that's the thing that relates most to you as digital critical friends and hopefully STEM ambassadors as well. This is our impact report. So another QR code there, Kerry. If you want to see what we actually achieved in our first year as a charity, because we're now a completely independent charity, you can have a read of that and see what it is that we achieved. So how are we connected then as a trio and how are we working together? Well, you have ScotlandIS, who have this fantastic Digital Critical Friends program, and they will match you an industry practitioner, that's you, in with a specific school to really help guide that teacher and that class and provides them access to you and the insight that you have, which a teacher never would usually have. So as a teacher myself, when I came out of teaching and into the corporate world, I'll give you a little example of how I didn't understand something. Someone said to me, I'm on AL next week. And I just couldn't figure it out because I'd never heard the phrase annual leave before or AL or it abbreviated. So it took me ages and something as simple as that to figure that out. So that's a very silly and simple example. But how am I supposed to even understand roles and what it is when I don't understand the lingo or how people are talking? Because I came straight out of school, into university, into teacher training, and then into teaching for 13 years. So I have no idea what the world of actual corporate world of work looks like because I'd never managed to experience it. So you're a huge asset as a digital critical friend to those teachers to help advise them about what kind of skills they want the children to need for the corporate world. How is technology advancing? What kind of things should we be preparing them for? Then we have Tech She Can, which is all of the free resources I'm going to show you and where they are now. So what can you actually deliver to the students? And all of our Tech We Can champions, who are the people who go out into schools, are STEM ambassadors also. Not only for the PVG DBS check, but also for STEM ambassadors' fantastic way that they can connect you with lots of schools, the community that that gives you with other STEM ambassadors as well. And there's lots of fantastic training opportunities that they offer for you beyond anything that we could offer, and other, not just Tech We Can, but you can, as Kerry was saying earlier, dip into other volunteering opportunities that might spark your interest too. So Tech We Can. Tech We Can has been delivered to 49,000 children across the UK since March last year. So we're incredibly proud of that. And we're also incredibly proud of the close relationships we have in Scotland. Just under half of our overall reach is Scottish students, which is amazing. And that's because of teams like Kerry's team and Fiona's team and Education Scotland and other connections that we have of people really trying to drive this above the border, as I say. So you are my favourite country in the UK. You are the most easiest to work with. Everyone collaborates much better. And I'm so proud of the outreach that we have to students across Scotland, including right up in the Shetland Isles as well. So we try to reach the remote areas of Scotland too. We have over 500 champions trained and out and about. So that number is not just me talking on calls like this, but that number is plenty of people just like you, including previous Digital Critical friends, using the resources, talking to children virtually or in person, because there's different ways that you can actually deliver these resources. So why talk to children as young as 5 about tech careers? Because some people think I've gone a bit crazy when I say I want to do that, because usually careers advice isn't given until around S2, S3, S4, even older in some cases. And actually, I believe that's too late. We should start talking to children much earlier, like I said before, so that they have such a broad idea of what it is they can be, and they're not narrowing themselves into a funnel the older that they get. Actually, we're increasing that funnel, and by the time they get to decide, they can just follow their passions, follow what it is that they love, and they haven't already decided, and this small niche area that they fit in, that's the only place that they can have a successful role. If you work in technology, which I assume many of you do, you're very invisible to children. So that second point there, you can't aspire to be what you don't know exists. Children do not name tech roles usually when you ask them, especially little ones. When you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? They will say doctors, nurses, teachers, policemen, firefighters, fire ladies, whatever. Careers that people wear a uniform in, careers that they see people in their day-to-day lives doing. They don't ever say to me before Tech We Can, Becky, I've thought about being a UX designer. What about software development? So small children don't say that, not because it's something they don't want to be, it's because they simply don't know that you exist. They are passive users of technology every day. Their iPads, their PlayStations, their phones. They never stop to question, how did that actually get there and who made that? They think Apple, Google, Facebook, all of these companies, Meta, sorry, they just exist. They don't think that tens, hundreds of thousands of people work for them. They just think it's a thing, it exists. My PlayStation is just there. They never stop to question, PlayStation? That's a company you can work for. You can actually create games as a job. So that's what we try and do. We highlight those roles. What we don't do is we don't teach tech or coding to the children through Tech We Can. Not because we don't think it's important. It is very important to the future of technology, but it's because there's so many other people doing a fantastic job in the coding space. There's lots of other free coding materials that you can have. We see ourselves as the step before that. So before you encourage a child to code, they need to know how that actually relates to them as an individual and their passions and hobbies. So my daughter loves pandas. My son loves his art and his drama and his drawing. How can that actually relate to careers in technology? They need to see how them as individuals and their hobbies and passions, how they don't need to change who they are and what it is they do to have a fulfilling and fantastic career in tech. Also, by the way, when a child does come to me and says, Becky, I want to be a doctor, I never say to them, have you thought about software development instead? So I never say that. Tech We Can's not about persuading every child to go into technology. It will still benefit that child that really wants to be a doctor, because I'll say to them, fantastic, let's see how doctors are using tech in the future. Let's talk about slime robots that you can swallow. Let's talk about how they're using robotics in surgery. How are people actually making, through the pandemic, how did they actually use technology to help other people? So no matter what the children want to be, Tech We Can will benefit them. This is the impact that Tech We Can has. This was a young lady in an S2 class. I asked her to draw what a tech worker looks like. I asked the whole class to do this. And her quote was, Miss, this is a fat white guy who lives in his mum's basement. He's antisocial. He eats a lot. He's got no fashion sense. Look at his dodgy shoes, his green tie and his brown suit. He'll hack into the Pentagon, steal all of your money. So, and a hacker, basically, a criminal hacker that she'd seen on the movies, living in basements. Obviously, in America, we don't have very many basements in the UK. No friends, very geeky in her words. After only 3 lessons, I said to them, could you draw it again? What does a tech worker look like? She said, this is me, miss. I'm a social media manager. I work for Facebook. I'm funny. I'm kind. I spend time with my friends. Here's my afro hair and my super cape. So 3 things she did that you could do with children. This is what Tech We Can does. Firstly, she knew of a job that never existed. So she never knew social media manager was an actual thing that you could do because nobody had ever told her that. The same class where a child said to me, what do you mean you can work for Google, miss? Do you like answer people's questions and stuff? And I said, no, you don't answer people's questions. And then I said, let's Google how many Google searches there are in a minute. So we did. And he said, nah, miss, that's a very big warehouse full of people. And I said, yes, it is. So that's not what they do at Google. Let's have a look how they actually do that. So just simply highlighting the roles and careers and companies that exist that they can work for. The second thing she did is she saw the very strong connection between tech and English. English is what I taught at secondary school level. I didn't teach computing. And she now saw how that fantastic skill that she had in English could lead her into tech. And then finally, she drew herself. This was a mixed race young lady. And it was so nice of her watching her when she saw people on the screen that looked like her, and she would look up and think, she said, that looks like me, that lady looks like me. And it was such a nice moment for people to see relatable role models and to really diversify who they think actually works in tech. There may be people sitting in their basement eating McDonald's and all those things that she described, but there were also lots of other types of people as well, and that's what we want to broaden the children's knowledge of and challenge their perceptions of who works in tech and what it is that they do. I won't play this video, but if you would like to see Tech We Can in action and some of the children completing it, it's a short video in the slide deck that we'll share with you afterwards. I say I won't play it and then Google forces me to. There we are. So what do we have available to you then? We have animations for the very young children. So that's Katie and her RoboDog Tex. There's 7 available at the moment. Our 8th one is launching in a couple of weeks, and that is in collaboration with the RAF. And it's all about augmented reality and how fighter jet pilots use that in their helmets. We have animations on the cloud. So what does that actually mean? Animations on virtual reality, animations on cashless payments, autonomous shopping, drones, all of this kind of words and technology that the young children will see and hear. And rather than actually just think, oh, that's cool, and just move on, we want them to think, I know how that works. I can explain that to you, mommy, daddy. I know someone that makes that. People make that. They're the kind of things we want children to start saying when they see this brand new cool technology. We then have on-demand video lessons that you can click and play. Lesson packs, and I'm going to show you where these are in a moment, that you can download and use. Virtual assemblies that we deliver and you can tune into with your students. Career Insight Days, which is where we take children into organisations, and then Tech We Can champions. So as a Tech We Can champion, you will support learning of the children by helping them understand the real world applications of what it is they're doing at school. You will illuminate careers, so simply tell them that those careers exist, and you will raise their aspirations. So give young people the encouragement they need to start thinking about their future. What is it that they want to be? There's 3 pictures along the bottom there, 2 of which are Scottish-based pictures. So that in the bottom left corner is the PwC Glasgow team, including Suzanne, who now works for Tech She Can. And they are talking to a school in the Shetland Isles, which only had 7 children in the entire school. So Glasgow to the Shetland is very far away. And actually, that school had never really spoken to industry before, but they delivered a virtual assembly. So there are virtual options which you can deliver as well from the office together. As a team, they delivered that session to the children in a very small farming village up in the Shetlands. Ajesh in the middle picture there has had a back operation recently, so he likes the fact that he can still volunteer without physically visiting a school. And then Abby in that bottom right corner is our superstar STEM ambassador and Tech We Can champion, who is currently on her 17th, I think, session across Glasgow and Edinburgh, and she goes out to school. She's a software developer from NatWest, and she's even is happy to give advice to other people who are interested in this too, because she's got that great feeling that you get after you deliver a session where you think, I think I really made a difference there. That's amazing. This is a before and after picture. I want to quote from Abby there. So what of why she's a Tech We Can champion. But those before and after pictures on the right hand side is before and after asking a class after a 30-minute assembly. So this was one of our champions called Jack. He logged on and he said to the children, who thinks the job in technology sounds interesting? And in that top picture, you could see Jack had about 9 children and 1 girl in the middle that's very unsure. She's just non-committal. And in the bottom picture, that was after 30 minutes of a ready-made assembly with his script that was all done for him. Jack said, who thinks it sounds interesting to work in technology now? And look at the difference he made. So almost all the children with their hands in the air. Now, realistically, all of those children will not go into technology, but there is the very likely possibility that Jack encouraged a number of them to start thinking about it and has planted that seed now that might grow into a tech career. So he'll never truly know his impact, but I know of very few other volunteering opportunities where you can give such a short amount of your time to have a big potential impact. So to become a Tech We Can champion, because you're digital critical friends already, we do ask that you become a STEM ambassador, which is part of the process that Kerry has explained. So all of our Tech We Can champions are STEM ambassadors. You can then attend a 1-hour virtual training session with me. So when you register as a Tech We Can champion on the website, I'll show you how to do that. You'll get invitations every 2 weeks. They change on the day and the time to try and suit many people's timetable. So you'll get, and you can just drop into one that suits you. So a 1-hour virtual training session where I'll take you through all of the resources in a lot more detail than I will today if you would like to. Wait for your DBS PVG certificate and then you can match to a school. Now we have lots of schools asking, but you're actually already matched to a school through your digital critical friends. So you've already got that bit done and then you can deliver a session to the students. There's links here that when Fiona and the team send them out. So access to the champion resources is here that I'll show you where they are in a moment. If you would like to register for the training as a Tech We Can champion and have some more detail in the resources where they are and how you use them, you can just register as a Tech We Can champion there. We have a LinkedIn group, which is champions, who are also STEM ambassadors, out and about delivering, so you can learn from some of them and see what it is that they're doing. And then finally, some of you might be thinking, I've got a school in my network, or I'd love to be able to explain this to a teacher. There's a great leaflet there that you can just download that explains to them not only what Tech We Can champions do, but also all of the resources they can access. And you might want to pass this on to your teacher that you've been matched with through Digital Critical Friends and say, actually, I can deliver a session, but there's all these resources that you can access independently too. And all of those resources are on the Tech She Can website here. So if you click on Tech We Can, the on-demand video lessons are all here. So if I scroll down, you can just click on one, Tech for the Planet, for example, and it will play straight away. There is no login or registrations. They're very easily accessible. If you scroll down, your teacher might ask you this question, what's it about? What will they learn? What will I need? All of that information is there. Just scroll down the page. There's even a really helpful worksheet. If you wanted to do that with the children, just click on it. It won't take you anywhere else. It just downloads straight onto your computer. This was made in collaboration with Twinkle, who are an organisation that create lots of different worksheets for schools. So that's one option, the on-demand lessons. The other option is lesson packs that I'll take you through in the training, but there's lots of different themes here that you can download the plan and the PowerPoint for. The animations are all here. Again, they are quite simply clip and play to the children. And then the role model videos as well. So if you wanted to give the children something to explore, people from many different organisations, so young women working in technology, short videos of them explaining what it is they do, what they enjoy about their job and giving advice to the students. And then finally, we have a whole section for champions here. So the champion resources and everything you need to do. If you click on champion resources, scroll down, there's some specific resources for champions here. So lesson packs you can download, as well as this is the most popular option we have at the moment for both schools and our champions, which are our assemblies. So much shorter sessions where we've got lots of different themes and we have secondary and primary versions of them. So please do take some time to explore the website. It's all there for you. Tech We Can is available to everyone, all the videos, the animations, the role models, and then there's a whole section specifically for champions with resources on there for you. So if you're looking for something to do with the school that you're matched with as a digital critical friend and therefore STEM ambassador as well, this would be perfect for you to be able to deliver to the students. Thank you, Fiona. So yeah, that's the link to the website. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll pass back to Fiona.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Becky. We've also got Andy on the line today, who is from Police Scotland, and Andy's going to take some time just now to tell us about their cyber initiatives choices. This is something that we should be aware of as digital critical friends. So, Andy, I will pass over to yourself. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Fiona, and a very good afternoon, everyone. My name's Andy Lop. I've been a police officer for the last 20 years. Cyber Choices is an initiative that we run in Police Scotland in partnership with the National Crime Agency, and we've got a network right across the UK who run this Cyber Choices programme. So Cyber Choices really is about identifying young people who may err on the side of criminality when it comes to learning about tech. Now, what we try to do here is we're trying to explain to the young people the difference between legal and illegal cyber activity. Young people don't understand the Computer Misuse Act, and we try to explain it in simple terms to them what is legal and what isn't legal. So it's about making the right choice. We're encouraging them to use informed choices about the use of technology. And really it's about promoting legal cyber opportunities. I think people are quite surprised that when we start talking about hacking from very young ages, people think that, that's going to be, someone in their 20s in a dark room. It's nothing like that. And as a digital critical friend, you might come across this in your school. So what I was going to try to think about is, what percentage of teens have admitted trying to compromise someone else's social media account? I mean, this is just a guesstimate. However, it's 1 in 4. So that's 1 in 4 teenagers admitting to committing a crime, basically, under the Computer Misuse Act. That gives you a scale of the issue that we're looking about. Cyber Choices is not about criminalising young people. It's about raising their awareness of what they should do and what they can do. And what you may find is that as part of your role as a digital critical friend in school, you may be approached about some of these issues. We're here in the background. We're always there to help. We've got an email account. You can read up on a lot of our materials that are based online as well. And it just gives you that confidence that if there may be something happening in a young person's life and maybe they are erring on the side of criminal activity, you can get in contact with us. All we're looking to do is guide them on the right path. So what percentage of hackers does everyone think started before the age of 18? I can't actually get access to the chat. So just to give you an idea, we have 61% of all hackers started their criminal acts before the age of 16. So that is a huge amount of individuals out there that have done this. And what we're trying to do is understand what's happened and why they've chosen that behaviour. And we've done some studies about this, but this is a prime example for yourselves. So the average age of someone arrested for drug trafficking is around about 37 years of age. The average for someone for a cyber-dependent crime is 17 years of age. A lot are still in school. Youngest in the UK ever convicted was 14. The 14-year-old in question there was convicted simply because of the type of DOS attack that he created. He monetized it by selling it online, and he profited a very large amount of money, approximately £250,000 for a 14-year-old through that, and he was convicted for that. But the youngest I've had encountered was an 8-year-old. I've had referrals for primary 6, a group of pupils. So it does happen from a young age. So we've got to be aware of that. People, I don't think, realise how advanced a lot of young people are in the tech industry. And people in the tech industry themselves may have overshot the line once or twice, maybe in their career, but it's all part of the development. So what we try to make people understand is the difference between cyber-enabled and cyber-dependent crime. The easiest way to describe it: cyber-enabled crime, traditional crime that's enhanced by technology. However, cyber-dependent type crime, it's a crime where technology is required in order to commit that offence. And, you know, we're looking at DDoS attacks, we're looking at password use, misuse, etc. And it is happening from a younger age. The amount of information that's out there to young people, a lot of them are gamers who use the Discord social media platform. There are so many different forums in Discord all about stressor tools or booter tools, which are basically DOS attacks on fellow players. You could go onto YouTube and you can watch hacking videos from start to finish. But what we find is that young people, now when I say young people, under the age of 21, most of them, their motivation isn't about money. These are the motivations that we found that a lot of young people display. So it's all about kudos. Example of that was there was a recent incident in Scotland, and it was a young female who had told her friends that she was able to access the dark web, and to prove it, she went on and uncovered some details from a hack site and copied an image of a passport that was released as part of a cyber incident and posted it on her social media account. Unfortunately, what she posted on her social media account was part of a cyber attack on a Scottish organisation. Because that was taken directly from the hack, she became a suspect, and we had to identify where she got that from. She was doing it for kudos. She was just showing off to her friends that she could access the dark web. Unfortunately, you know, we have to investigate these things. So again, she wasn't part of the cyber incident whatsoever. She was just doing that to test her skills, which is another one of the things that we find out. You know, the ability to go online, find the tools required, having the tutorials there to conduct these is huge. And it's so easy to do. The step-by-step guides there to do some criminal acts are so readily available. They don't hear, or there seems to be a lack of perception of risk. They seem to think that a lot of the time they may be anonymous when they're doing this, and they don't think there's any victim. But you know, this does impact them hugely. If it's discovered that they have committed a crime, they're not going to get a career in technology in the future. They're not going to have the disclosures available to employers to employ them. They wouldn't get certain contracts or be able to fill certain contracts, all because of possibly hijinks when they were younger, or maybe they were just testing their knowledge in some way. So a lot of this comes from a report that was instigated in 2015 and was published in 2016, the Crest Report. And what we actually found was that there is a documented gaming pathway to cybercrime. However, there's lots of intervention points, and we're not saying that every gamer out there is a cyber criminal, but a lot of cyber criminals were gamers, and that was part of where we started their journey. And just now, when you look at young people, especially in Scotland, you've got your 5, 6, 7-year-olds who are already playing your Roblox constantly. And then they move on to their devices. So we really need to look at the pinch points early. And it's quite simple, because the earlier that we can intervene in these young people, the bigger chance we have of changing their attitudes and behaviours. And that's what we want to do, is introduce that positive aspect of tech. It's great to be inquisitive. It's great to challenge yourself. It's great to learn, but we need to make sure that you're doing it legally and positively. And what we want to do is give them the resources and the knowledge in order to take that forward. So the Computer Misuse Act, I don't know how many of you actually have looked at the Computer Misuse Act, but these are the main sections of it. But what we try to do is break that down into young people so that they can understand, the sharing of the password, password shoulder surfing, etc., how that impacts them, impacts their friends, and the consequences of that. So our programme is actually about receiving referrals of young people who are maybe walking the line between positive actions and possible criminality. So what we're trying to look at is, it might be anything from a young people removing the parental controls of their phones and things like that, or you will be surprised at how many young people know how to get around parental controls nowadays. Non-technical password guessing, a little bit of social engineering gets used by young people to guess their friends' passwords and embarrass them. But they use remote access tools, they use Trojans. You talk about the denial of service tools that are available. The NCA created a website recently as part of an operation and received over 2,000 persons contacted that site and attempted to purchase a stress tester to use as a booter tools on gaming sites. And a lot of these individuals, we have their names and we're working with them, but that gives you an idea of the extent of the problem. These aren't adults, these are young people who are gaming and playing games quite professionally, possibly looking at a career in the future, but unfortunately their actions at that young stage can lead them to criminality. So all we look for is a very, very short referral to ourselves, all about what you believe that they're doing. We then go and speak to the school and we speak to other organisations. We'll do a complete check before we approach the young people and their family. And we try to give them options, and it's options that will enhance their abilities. So everything from, possibly giving them accounts with TryHackMe, Hack the Box, Immersive Labs, Pseudo Range, etc., some coding programs, etc. We arrange that along with, a little chat about legitimacy of products that they're using. We also need to understand their abilities and what they know in the online field so that we can tailor it to them. And that's really just about guiding them along the path towards a positive outcome. Again, Cyber Choices, I reiterate this a lot, is not about criminality. It's actually about preventing criminality and to nurture our young people. So what have we commonly seen in the referrals that come into ourselves? A lot. Isolated. A lot of them spend an awful lot of time in online interaction, be that on social media, be it on forums or be it on gaming. Computer gaming is a very large preoccupation for many of the referrals we see. And again, it might not just be an individual, but it could be a group of friends. It might be actually quite a number in one class. We've had to do this for a primary 7 class, and we looked at speaking to the whole class as a whole, rather than just the people who are being referred to ourselves. You know, a lot of young people don't really think about the wider impact of what they're doing. Certainly the conviction boy, he didn't realise how many organisations suffered huge damage on account of his denial of service software that he had produced in the background. And then neurodiversity. We are going to be receiving training for neurodiversity, but we do come across this quite often. And it's not about criminality, saying that people are neurodiverse may be involved in this. Sometimes it's more that they have an inquisitive mind and just want to work out how to do it. So there's no criminal element in what they believe that they're doing, but it's to get their attitudes and behaviours changed so they understand the correct way to do things. So what do we look for? Well, referrals can come in from anywhere. As a critical digital friend, if a teacher approached you and had some concerns about one of their students, it's very easy just to drop us an email and we take it from there. We would keep you updated, but you know, it might require an intervention, it might not, but what we can do is actually gauge their ability, what they're doing, why they're doing it, what their motivations are, and then put in a proper plan of interventions for them so that they can come out a far better, more knowledgeable and directed person. So we look at that all the time. I think it's a very important thing. And certainly we signpost to resources. We always want a positive intervention. There's nothing better than working with a young person at the start and knowing that after the input that we've had to them, they're now looking at a career in cyber, possibly looking to apply to colleges or to universities. And it's a great feeling to know that these things happen. For us, referrals aren't just about students who are in computer science clubs or classes. This could be anyone. We had an example of a young boy who left school at 16, had no qualifications from school whatsoever, started working in Subway, always was interested in computers, wanted to change his life around. He then got the motivation and the knowledge and the signposting to resources, and he managed to start his work with HNC in computing, and then followed it up with an HND. He then moved on and got a place at Aberdeen University as a third-year student in the ethical hacking course. He then finished his ethical hacking course, passing with honours, and is now working for an international company. He left school with nothing. His starting salary became £36,000. He was promised it would be approximately 50,000 within 2 years, and has the opportunity to work either from home in the UK, in America, in Europe, or in Singapore. And he's done that simply because he was interested in this, but he had no signposting when he was younger on how to get there. And now he is now 22 years of age, and he is so happy and so looking forward to his life. And you can be a part of that. It's not just about people who are interested and are achieving well in school. This is about all of the young people there. So the outline that we talk about, we're working with those in the periphery of cybercrime. They might have committed a small crime, but it's about diverting them and more positive pathways, and it's really about giving them a chance in future life. If you need any more information, the email's there for Cyber Choices Scotland at scotland.police.uk. We have a website, which is the NCA one. But if you want to know more, go online, have a look at it. I don't have a QR code because we like to be individuals in the police. However, it's a great opportunity for you to know slightly more about some of the interventions that police are doing at an early stage to make sure that we've got that conveyor belt of tech professionals coming through at the end of the day. So I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. You have the email there. We'll get the email put into the chat as well. And as soon as you think of any questions, we're here to do our best to assist you. So thank you very much for listening to me today. And I'll hand back to Fiona. Thank you.
Fab. Thank you very much, Andy. So you've now heard from all of us that are involved with our Digital Critical Friends programme. I do understand that that's quite a lot of information to take in. It's over an hour's worth of information. But does anybody have any initial questions? Feel free to take yourself off mute and ask any questions or type them into the chat if that's more comfortable. Okie dokie then. If anybody does have any questions or think of anything, please do get in touch. As I said, it's fiona.thompson@scotlandis.com. I have all the presentations from the rest of our speakers today, so I will make sure that they get sent out for you and you'll have the information that's available in there as well. So just left for me to say thank you very much for taking the time. Thank you very much for being interested. Please do get in touch with any questions, or if you need any more information on any of that, you can get in touch with any one of us. Thank you very much, and I will close the call there. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Bye all.